It's the morning of January 19th, 1991. High above Iraq, two F-15 Sea Eagles sliced through the sky on an escort mission during Operation Desert Storm. Leading the formation is Captain Cesar Rico Rodriguez, flying alongside his wingman, Captain Craig Mole Underhill. Their job is simple: clear the skies ahead of a massive strike package heading toward Baghdad. Behind them, 36 coalition aircraft races toward their targets. Waves of F-16 Fighting Falcons dive into attack runs, each carrying 2,000-pound bombs. One after another, they release their payloads. Seconds later, the Iraqi ammunition depots erupt in towering explosions that shake the desert floor. The F-16 pilots brace for retaliation. They pull hard into the sky, releasing chaff and flares, expecting a barrage of surface-to-air missiles. But no missiles come. Instead, Iraq responds with something far more dangerous. Two pairs of its most advanced fighters, MiG-29 Fulcrums. Since the war began, the Iraqi Air Force has avoided direct confrontation, choosing to preserve its aircraft whenever possible. But today presents a rare opportunity. Only two American fighters stand between them and the vulnerable strike package. Perfect targets. A pair of Fulcrums accelerates toward the F-15s. Inside Rico's cockpit, a calm voice crackles over the radio. Rico, two hostile contacts. One bearing 040 for 35. Second bearing 340 for 65. Roger, we'll take the 040. Rico banks toward the closer threat. Moments later, the F-15's powerful radar paints a contact. Contact! Then another warning appears. On his radar warning receiver, a large 29 flashes into view. Enemy radar. MiG-29. I see it. Both American pilots tighten their grip on the controls. Two pairs of fourth-generation fighters are now racing directly toward one another at supersonic speed. Rico selects an AM-7 Sparrow missile. The Iraqis make the first move. Both Fulcrums dive to low altitude, trying to disappear into the ground clutter beneath the Eagles. Against older radars, the tactic often works. Not today. The F-15's radar continues tracking them. One blurry return suddenly splits into two distinct targets. I've got two. Rico locks onto one of them. Inside the MiG cockpit, the Iraqi pilot hears his own warning system scream. He's been locked. But the Fulcrums aren't finished. Both fighters bank sharply across the Eagle's flight path. Instantly, the radar contacts disappear. I lost it. Rico pulls back on the stick, searching the empty radar display. The MiGs have exploited one of the Eagle's few weaknesses. When a target moves perfectly across the radar's field of view, the Doppler radar briefly loses it. The Iraqis know it. They're using the blind spot perfectly. Seconds later, contact. The MiGs reappear 12 nautical miles away. Rico locks them again, but he doesn't fire. The AM-7 Sparrow isn't a fire-and-forget missile. It requires continuous radar guidance until impact. If the MiGs slip back into the blind spot, the missile will lose guidance and miss. Again, the contacts vanish. Lost it. Then, contact. Again. Lost it. Over and over, the Fulcrums weave across the sky, blinking on and off Rico's radar while carefully maintaining 12 miles of separation. They're controlling the fight. They're dragging the Eagles exactly where they want them. Far above the battlefield, inside an E-3 AWACS aircraft, Controller Mark White watches the engagement unfold. As the F-15s continue the chase, they leave his assigned sector. Protocol requires him to hand control over to another controller. Reluctantly, he does. But he can't stop watching. Back below, Rico and Mole continue after the Fulcrums. Then the cockpit suddenly fills with warning tones, the radar. Warning receiver begins flashing with new contacts. Not fighters, surface-to-air missile radars. Ahead lies one of Baghdad's heavily defended air defense belts. protected by dozens of S-125 Neva missile batteries. The Fulcrums haven't been trying to escape. They've been leading the Eagles into a deadly trap. They're dragging us into the SAM belt. What do we do? Rico quickly checks the position of the strike package. The F-16s are still attacking their targets. If he breaks off now, the MiGs will have a clear path straight toward the bombers. He makes his decision. We hold here. What? We keep the MiGs busy until the strikes are finished. Then we leave. It's a dangerous gamble. The Eagles deliberately continue toward the missile envelope, buying precious minutes for the strike aircraft. Every few seconds, the RWR chirps as another enemy radar sweeps across them. The warning tones grow faster, closer, more frequent. But the missile sites aren't the real trap. They're only the distraction. While Rico focuses ahead, a third MiG-29 slips into the battle from the left. Its radar remains switched off. Without emitting radar energy, it stays invisible to the Eagle's warning receivers. It creeps closer. 20 miles. 18, 16. High above, Mark White notices the new contact. His eyes widen. The F-15s haven't seen it. The Fulcrum is already inside missile range. White hesitates. The fight is no longer under his control. Interrupting pilots in combat can create deadly confusion. 15 miles. Still no reaction. 14. He makes his choice. Pop-up contact. Bearing 330. 13 miles. The call arrives just in time. Rico reacts instantly. His external fuel tanks fall away. He slams the stick left, pulling so hard that white vapor explodes across the Eagle's wings. As the aircraft swings toward the new threat, the radar immediately catches it. Bogey, 8 miles. Only 8 miles separate them now. Well within missile range for both aircraft. Inside the Iraqi Fulcrum, the pilot receives his own update. Target in range. He flips on his radar. Instantly, Rico's RWR erupts. The flashing 29 returns. Both pilots now know exactly where the other is. They close head-on at well over the speed of sound. Rico locks the target. His thumb hovers over the missile trigger, but he doesn't fire. Coalition rules of engagement require visual identification of any aircraft detected inside 10 miles. Friendly F-117 stealth fighters are operating nearby. One mistake could mean disaster. Even with a MiG radar locking onto him, Rico waits. Mole, identify. Time is running out. The Iraqi pilot locks his radar. Rico's cockpit screams with the unmistakable warning tone. I'm spiked! Without hesitation, Rico rolls inverted and dives. Chaff bursts behind the Eagle as he races toward the desert floor. I'm getting low. The terrain should break his radar lock. The warning continues. The lock holds. From 30,000 feet, Rico plunges toward the ground at nearly the speed of sound, desperately searching the sky for the attacking Fulcrum. Beside him, Mole keeps the target locked. His finger rests on the trigger, but he still needs confirmation. The identification process feels endless. Then at last, cleared to engage, Mole squeezes the trigger. Fox 1. The AM-7 Sparrow tears away from the Eagle in a plume of white smoke. Rico watches the missile streak past his twin tails, racing toward the incoming Fulcrum. He follows its smoke trail through the sky. Then he finally sees it. The MiG-29 is diving straight toward him, its nose pointed down, preparing to fire. It never gets the chance. The Sparrow slams directly into the Fulcrum's nose. A blinding flash tears across the sky. The MiG explodes into thousands of fragments, scattering burning debris across the desert below. Splash 1. Relief floods Rico's cockpit. He pulls out of his dive barely 500 feet above the ground before, reclimbing back into the fight. But the battle isn't over. High above, AWACS controller Mark White spots another threat. Second group, north, 10 miles. Rico scans the sky. The strike package has already completed its mission and is heading home. For a moment, he considers turning away. But the enemy is too close. If they leave now, the MiGs could attack from behind. There is only one option: fight. Rico turns north. Almost immediately, another contact appears on his radar. This one is just outside 10 nautical miles, far enough to engage once it's identified. He begins the identification process. Hostile. He locks the target. Inside the Iraqi fighter, the lock warning erupts. The MiG pilot immediately breaks into a hard defensive turn. It makes no difference. The Eagle's radar holds firm. Rico steadies his aircraft. His thumb rests on the missile trigger. Then Mole's voice cuts across the radio. He's showing us friendly. Rico frowns. What? My scope changed him from a solid contact to a diamond. A diamond indicates a friendly aircraft. For a brief moment, silence fills both cockpits. Something doesn't make sense. Rico is convinced it's another MiG. But electronic identification isn't enough. He needs to see it with his own eyes. The enemy races straight toward him. Instead of climbing, Rico stays low, allowing the unknown aircraft to pass overhead. At the last second, he pulls sharply upward. The Eagle roars beneath the contact. For an instant, all Rico can see is a dark silhouette against the bright morning sky, still impossible to identify. He keeps climbing. The two fighters close at unbelievable speed. Then, they flash past one another with less than 50 feet separating them. Just enough. Rico catches a clear glimpse of the aircraft's upper surface. Green camouflage, the Iraqi flag. It's a MiG-29. Now the fight changes completely. No more radar games. No more beyond visual range tactics. This is a dogfight. Rico banks hard left. Looking through the canopy, he spots the Fulcrum below, maintaining a flat turn. An opening appears. Without hesitation, Rico rolls inverted and pulls into the MiG's circle, cutting inside its turn. 10 Gs slam into his body. His vision begins to narrow. Every muscle strains against the crushing force. The Eagle groans under the load. The MiG flashes across his nose. Rico yanks harder. The Fulcrum pushes downhill, trading altitude for speed. Rico follows. Both fighters spiral toward the desert floor in a tightening corkscrew. They merge again. Closer this time. Rico can almost feel the heat from the enemy's engines. He pulls with everything he has, forcing the Eagle around the circle. High above, Mole watches the fight unfold. He sees an opening. I can take the shot. Stand by. Rico never takes his eyes off the MiG. He can feel the advantage shifting. The Fulcrum races past once more. Altitude is disappearing fast. Neither pilot has much sky left. Rico grits his teeth and pulls even harder. The G-forces become almost unbearable. Blood drains from his head. His arms feel impossibly heavy. Then the MiG begins drifting toward the center of his gun sight. He's getting behind him, slowly, patiently. The Eagle continues tightening the circle. Now the Fulcrum fills more and more of the windscreen. Rico switches weapons. The AIM-9 Sidewinder growls as its infrared seeker searches for the MiG's exhaust. Just a little more lead, just a little closer. The Iraqi pilot realizes the danger. In a desperate attempt to escape, he rolls inverted and dives straight toward the desert. For a split second, Rico is stunned. He expected another hard turn. Not this. He refuses to follow. Instead, he breaks upward, keeping his energy and watching from above. The MiG continues downward. Only now does the Iraqi pilot begin pulling back on the stick. The desert rushes toward him. His afterburners ignite at full power. The aircraft shudders under enormous G-forces. Warning lights flash across. It's the cockpit. The Fulcrum is already beyond its limits. Still, the ground keeps coming. The nose rises, but not enough. A massive cloud of sand erupts as the MiG-29 slams into the desert floor. Silence. The fight is over. Rico exhales for what feels like the first time in minutes. The adrenaline begins to fade. 2 miles off his right wing, Mole rejoins formation. Tactical, right side. Rico glances over. For the first time that morning, there are no warning tones, no radar locks, no enemy fighters, just open sky. Let's go home. That mission would become one of the most famous air-to-air engagements of Operation Desert Storm. Captain Cesar Rico Rodriguez would finish his career with 3 confirmed aerial victories, tying the post-Vietnam record for the most MiG kills by an American pilot. His victory wasn't decided by superior technology alone. It was won through discipline, patience, teamwork, and split-second decisions under extraordinary pressure. Against one of the world's most capable fighters, Rico proved that even in the age of missiles and radar, the pilot inside the cockpit still made the difference. 2 generations of elite fighters had met over the Iraqi desert. Only one flew home. It was close today. 2 fourth-generation fighters. True. But not as one-sided as when our F-16s made short work of the Hawks. Watch the full film to see that battle.